Although I'm still going to show you my own preferred way for sorting data, let me just take a little bit of time to explain some of the basics. And I don't intend to spend a lot of time on sorting really. So from the home tab in your Excel, if you go towards the extreme right hand side, you are going to see buttons that allows you to do sorting and filtering. And like I've explained much earlier in the course, you would have seen also that majority of the things that you seem to use a lot, you are going to find them on the home tab. The home tab really is not a functional tab per se, unlike the other tabs, right? When I say functional, what I mean is this: when you go to insert tab, the insert tab contains things that you want to insert into Excel, right? Things that are not natively part of Excel, you just want to insert them, right? Like pictures, like shapes, and so on and so forth. If you go to the draw tab, in the draw tab, you are going to see things that have to do with drawings. If you go to the formulas tab, you are going to see, different buttons that contains, the commands or functions that Excel has. The home tab in itself is not a functional tab. It just contains a variety of many of the things from the other tabs that we tend to use a lot, right? So even though the sort and filter button is there from the home tab, I don't typically use the one that we have there. I majorly just go into the data tab where I can easily find my data tab rather, where I can easily find this sorting and this buttons, right? So under the group of sort and filter. So now sorting is really straightforward. So for example, if I was going to sort this data sets based on staff names in alphabetical orders, I just basically need to make sure that I stay somewhere within the data set for staff name, either maybe on the header or maybe in one of the staff names. I just need to stay somewhere there. And then I'll basically just come over here to sort and filter, and I can use this button A to Z or Z to A, and that's exactly what you see. So if I do A to Z like this, then you see that it arranges it for me the way I expected. Now you just need to understand that this A to Z and this Z to A is also going to respect the kind of data that you have. Right now, A to Z tends to work when you are talking about a data set that contains text values. However, when you have date values like this, you are still going to use the same A to Z to control the sorting, right? Since A comes before Z, if you decide to use A to Z on the on a date data type column, it simply means that you want to sort from the earliest date to the latest date. That's just what it means. So if I decide to use A to Z on this date column, then you will see that I have 2010 before 2011 before 2014, and then 2021 is the last one. The exact same thing is going to apply for numbers column. So a numbers column as well is going to follow that same logic. So if I decide to do this Z to A, then I would expect the highest salary to be the first one at the top. Now, don't get confused with sorting. At the beginning, people tend to be confused with sorting, right? What it simply means when you sort is that regardless, or maybe depending on the column you are sorting from, it is going to carry along all the other columns. So for example, if I decide to sort these data sets based on the annual pay, and I want the lowest annual pay first, it simply means that the person who owns the lowest annual pays data is going to show up first. So even if I'm sorting by this column, it just simply means that this column becomes the driver for how this data is going to be arranged, right? Which simply means since 68,000 is going to be the first data set, therefore, all of the rows where that 68,000 belongs to is going to show up first, right? So it's not like it's going to scatter the data somehow. It basically just goes along with every other respective columns that come with it, right? So if I'm going to sort this from A to Z, then you will see that the 68,000 guy basically comes along with every other column, that belongs to the same row as that 68,000.